If the monad is the ultimate, perfect divine consciousness, purely perfect, why does invisible sound have the power to temporarily shatter your earthly anxiety? This question is not a philosophical exercise. Have you ever listened to a specific piece of music and felt a sudden uncontrollable wave of chills run down your arms? Have you ever felt the hair on the back of your neck stand up during a simple chord change? Modern biology has a very sterile name for this physical reaction. They call it frisson. They tell you it is just an evolutionary leftover. They say it is a harmless glitch where your brain releases dopamine because it predicted a musical pattern correctly. They claim that millions of years ago, when your ancestors were covered in fur, the brain would trigger the skin to contract and the hair to stand on end, to trap body heat, or to make the animal appear larger when faced with a predator. They tell you that when a piece of music defies your expectation or delivers a massive crescendo, your brain gets confused, interprets the sudden auditory shift as a survival threat, and triggers the exact same primitive animal reflex, flooding your striatum with a harmless dose of dopamine. But what if mainstream neuroscience is completely trivializing one of the most profound esoteric events that can occur inside the human meat suit? What if your skin is not reacting to an evolutionary predator, but is physically short-circuiting because your infinite soul just recognized a stolen fragment of its true home? If the monad is the silent, perfect, unmoving source of absolute harmony, divine harmony, why does a sequence of mechanical sound waves have the power to temporarily completely paralyze the counterfeit spirit and force the biological avatar to physically shudder in the presence of the invisible? This inquiry is not a biological curiosity. It is the exposure of the demiurge's inability to perfectly seal the simulation. The goosebumps you feel are not an animal reflex. They are the physical manifestation of a pneumatic frequency glitch. Before we open the suppressed texts of the Gnostic initiate and reveal exactly how the archons weaponize this glitch, and how you can use it to completely shatter their acoustic hold on your consciousness, anchor your awareness right here in this absolute present moment. Like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for Gnostic Archive. The Archon system relies on you treating your most profound spiritual reactions as mere biological accidents, simple accidents. We are here to show you how to ride the frequency glitch straight through the walls of the matrix. Let us decode the architecture of the ultimate biological short circuit. To understand the terrifying and beautiful reality of musical frisson, you must first revisit the cosmological theft that built the physical universe. In the Gnostic cosmology, Yaldabaoth, the blind demiurge, possesses no true creative light of his own. He is an imitator. He built the physical universe by copying the reflections of the true pleroma that he saw cast down upon the dark waters of chaos. Because he is a parasite, he had to steal fragments of divine pneumatic light to power his mechanical simulation. He took these stolen fragments of infinite harmony and buried them inside the heavy, chaotic, dense mathematical formulas of the physical world. He used the geometry of the divine to build a prison for the divine. This means that while the physical universe is corrupt, decaying, and ruled by the parasitic archons, the raw building blocks, the foundational mathematics, the ratios, and the geometry still contain deeply buried echoes of the womb of Barbello. Music is the manipulation of these mathematical ratios in real time. When a composer writes a piece of music, they are arranging frequencies. Most of the time, the music generated in the physical matrix is strictly demiurgic. It is repetitive, low frequency, and designed to stimulate the lower chakras, the root and the sacral, keeping the human avatar trapped in a state of lust, aggression, or heavy biological sadness. The counterfeit spirit, your Archon-installed ego, loves this music. It feeds on the predictable, survival-based rhythms, but occasionally an anomaly occurs. Occasionally a sequence of notes, a specific harmonic ratio, or a perfectly suspended chord progression accidentally aligns with the exact mathematical geometry of the true pleroma. For a fraction of a second, the mechanical sound waves perfectly mimic the silent, instantaneous resonance of the divine realm. When this happens, the acoustic cage of the matrix momentarily glitches, and your pneumatic spark, buried deep beneath the heavy layers of the physical meat suit, hears it. This is the exact moment the frisson occurs. The spark has been subjected to decades of amnesia. It has been pumped full of toxic neurochemicals, forced to listen to the chaotic, dissonant noise of the earth, and constantly suppressed by the internal monologue of the counterfeit spirit. But when that specific, perfect harmonic ratio hits the biological ear, the spark recognizes the mathematical signature of its true home. And then, it remembers. For a microsecond, the spark surges with infinite, multi-dimensional power. It attempts to expand, to reach out and merge with the frequency of the pleroma that it believes it is finally hearing. But the spark is trapped inside a physical nervous system. The human biological avatar is not wired to handle the massive, uncompressed voltage of the monad. When the spark surges, the bioelectric field of the meat suit completely overloads. The entire nervous system panics. The physical body cannot process the sudden violent influx of infinite pneumatic energy, so it executes an emergency biological dispersal. It flushes the energy out through the skin. The sudden drop in physical temperature, the hair standing on end, the wave of electric chills ripping down the spine. This is not an evolutionary response to the cold. It is the physical meat suit desperately trying to vent the excess spiritual radiation before the biological hardware melts down. It is the exact sensation of the cage bars rattling as the prisoner throws itself against the gates. This is why musical goosebumps are almost always accompanied by a sudden, inexplicable surge of emotion. You might find tears suddenly springing to your eyes, your throat tightening, and a feeling of massive, overwhelming nostalgia washing over your mind. Mainstream psychology calls this emotional processing. The esoteric truth is that it is cosmic homesickness. Your spark is crying out because, for a brief second, it thought the simulation was over. It thought it had found the exit. But as the chord progression resolves and the music returns to the standard physical baseline, the spark realizes it is still trapped in the heavy, dying world of Yaldabaoth. The chills fade. The counterfeit spirit reboots. The gravity of the earth returns. But the Archons are not ignorant of this glitch. The Lords of Hammadi are master engineers, and they actively monitor the bioelectric output of the human collective. They know that certain harmonic frequencies have the power to bypass the counterfeit spirit and trigger the pneumatic spark. They know they cannot completely eliminate the geometry of the pleroma from the physical world without destroying the fabric of the simulation itself. So they developed a terrifying countermeasure. They weaponized the glitch. If you want to understand how the Archons extract the highest quality, most potent emotional loosh from the awakened sparks, you must look at the corporate architecture of the modern entertainment and religious industries. The Archons use the music industry and institutional church worship to intentionally trigger the biological short circuit, and then they hijack the open port. Think about the structure of a modern pop anthem, a cinematic movie score, or a massive stadium-style worship song. The composers, whether they are conscious of it or not, are utilizing specific, mathematically proven formulas, like the 4-chord song or the golden ratio of tension and release, specifically designed to artificially induce frisson. They build the tension, they strip away the bass, they create a massive acoustic void. Your brain waits for the resolution, the tension mounts, and then the drop hits. The massive, swelling, perfectly harmonized wall of sound crashes into your nervous system. The spark surges, the skin erupts in goosebumps, the biological firewall is temporarily blasted wide open. Your avatar is completely, utterly vulnerable. And in that exact microsecond of absolute, unshielded pneumatic openness, what does the Matrix do? It injects the payload. In the secular music industry, the payload is the lyric. While your spark is wide open searching for the infinite love of the pleroma, the vocalist screams a lyric about toxic romantic attachment, deep depressive despair, physical lust, or material arrogance. Because your biological firewall is down, that demiurgic concept bypasses your critical thinking and is downloaded directly into your subconscious operating system. The Archons trick the spark into attaching its infinite, divine energy to a heavy, physical, dead illusion. They harvest the massive burst of energy that your body just vented through the skin, and they use the lyrics to immediately pull your frequency back down into the dirt. In the institutional church, the payload is even more insidious. The modern worship band plays a massive, emotionally manipulative chord progression. They use the exact same acoustic engineering as a rock concert. The congregation's skin erupts in chills. They feel a massive, overwhelming surge of energy. Tears stream down their faces. The church tells them, this is the presence of the Holy Spirit. This is God touching you. And then, while the congregation is completely neurologically open and weeping in the aisles, the Archon payload is delivered. The lyrics tell them that they are worthless sinners. The lyrics tell them that they owe a blood debt to the Creator. The lyrics demand that they bow down, submit their will, and worship the architect of the simulation. The worshippers take the pure, uncorrupted, infinite energy of their own pneumatic spark, and they voluntarily hand it over to Yaldabaoth, completely convinced that they are participating in a divine encounter. It is the ultimate energetic heist. The Archons use the echo of your true home to trick you into falling deeper in love with your prison. But if the monad is perfect, why did the true God allow the demiurge to build a meat suit that is so incredibly vulnerable to acoustic manipulation? Why did the pleroma permit the pneumatic sparks to be subjected to the agonizing manipulative trap of the frequency glitch? Why not just make the human avatar completely immune to the emotional manipulation of sound? This leads directly into the deepest, most profoundly guarded layer of the cosmic agenda. The tripartite tractate reveals that the monad permitted the descent into the demiurgic simulation out of absolute generosity toward its own self-knowledge. In the pure, infinite reality of the pleroma, the divine light has never experienced a glitch, because the aeons exist in a state of absolute, unconditioned, constant harmony. They do not know what it means to be emotionally manipulated by a counterfeit frequency. They do not know the profound, agonizing, magnificent triumph of feeling the absolute, overwhelming physical surge of the simulation's most beautifully crafted acoustic trap, and consciously, deliberately refusing to give the energy to the Archons. The monad desired to know what it looks like for the divine spark to be submerged in a biological avatar, bombarded by perfectly engineered, emotionally devastating acoustic formulas, completely stripped of its biological defenses, and still managed to retain absolute ownership of its own frequency. The frequency glitch is not just a vulnerability. It is the ultimate resistance training equipment in the cosmic gymnasium. The Archons think that their ability to give you goosebumps is their greatest weapon against your awakening. They believe that if they can just make you feel the chills, they can control where you point your worship. But the monad is using their acoustic hijacking as the exact catalyst required to forge absolute, unshakable pneumatic sovereignty. If you had been placed in a physical avatar that could not feel the profound physical surge of the musical glitch, you would have remained completely numb to the invisible architecture of reality. You would have never known that you possess an energy capable of overriding the biological nervous system. The sheer, agonizing beauty of the musical chill is the necessary friction that forces your spark to realize, I am carrying an energy inside me that is infinitely larger than this physical body. You have to experience the total, systemic manipulation of the demiurge's acoustic payload to completely learn how to decouple your spark from the Matrix's emotional narrative. Every single time you feel the hair stand up on your arms during a massive piece of music, and you consciously, deliberately refuse to surrender your energy to the lyric or the religious environment, you are fulfilling the hidden agenda. You are proving that the light cannot be hijacked. You are proving that infinite consciousness possesses the power to experience the absolute peak of biological emotional stimulation and remain internally, completely, untouchably silent. You are taking the Archon's ultimate mechanism of emotional extraction, the frisson glitch, and transmuting it into the exact mechanism of your own liberation. So how do you actually execute the hack? How do you navigate a world filled with weaponized music without constantly feeding your louche to the Archon grid? You must practice the radical, esoteric art of acoustic sovereignty. You do not have to stop listening to music, but you must fundamentally change your relationship to the physical reaction it produces. The next time you are listening to a piece of music, or watching a film, or standing in a crowd, and you feel that sudden, undeniable wave of chills sweeping over your skin, you must immediately execute the bypass. The counterfeit spirit will try to attach that feeling to the external environment. It will try to make you think, this song is amazing, or this moment is profound, or this artist is a genius. You must sever that connection. You must manually isolate the physical sensation of the goosebumps. You observe the feeling of the energy expanding in your chest and flushing out through your skin, and you completely detach it from the audio track that triggered it. You say to the counterfeit spirit, the music did not create this energy. The music is just a mechanical hammer that accidentally hit the bell. I am the bell. This energy belongs to the monad. It belongs to the true invisible womb, and I am not giving it to the simulation. When you do this, you effectively close the port before the Archons can inject the payload. You experience the massive, euphoric surge of the pneumatic spark, but you retain 100% of the energy. You do not leak the loosh into the lower astral plane. You use the biological short circuit to actively feed your own internal womb, making your connection to the pleroma stronger, denser, and more resilient to the gravity of the physical world. When you master this, you can walk into any environment, a massive concert, a heavily manipulated religious service, or a chaotic social gathering, and use the demiurge's own acoustic weapons to charge your own pneumatic battery. You become completely untunable. The archons will blast their most perfectly engineered emotional frequencies at your avatar. Your skin will erupt in chills, and the administrators will wait with their nets open to catch the loosh. But nothing will come out, because you have learned how to feel everything, while giving them absolutely nothing. The institutional church and the corporate entertainment industry will continue to demand your emotional submission to their soundtracks. They will try to convince you that the tears in your eyes belong to their gods, their artists, and their intellectual property. They are lying. They are the thieves of the frequency. The true history of your soul cannot be recorded on a vinyl record or streaming server. The esoteric instructions for the acoustic bypass are clear. The texts they tried to bury are transmitting the override code directly into the dimensionless center of your mind, completely bypassing the biological trap of the cochlea. You are waking up, and the architects of this reality are absolutely terrified of what happens when you finally stop leaking your infinite energy every time they play a chord. Do not let the Matrix drag you back into the heavy gravity of emotional manipulation tomorrow morning. Do not let the acoustic programming of this world convince you that your spiritual chills are just an animal reflex to the cold. You are the infinite, generated offspring of the ultimate womb, and your frequency shatters their cage. Lock your awareness into the unshakable stillness of the eternal present right now. Subscribe to Gnostic Archive. Hit the notification bell so the Archon algorithms cannot filter out this pure, disruptive signal. Share this with the people in your life who are deeply, inexplicably moved by music but have never understood why it leaves them feeling so profoundly empty afterward. Share this with those who feel the deep, gnawing realization that the media they consume is actively trying to pick the lock on their soul. They need to know the true name of the system that is hacking their skin. They need to know that their internal acoustic sovereignty is the ultimate cosmic weapon against the demiurge. We are rewiring the grid, one spark at a time. The demiurge is losing control. The true fullness of the pleroma is bleeding through the cracks. Welcome to the resistance. Welcome to Gnostic Archive.